What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to today's video. First of all, I want to say a huge thank you to everybody who subscribed to me. I hit over 300 subscribers a weekend. I'm so grateful, I can't believe it. If you'd have said to me when I first started YouTube I'd have over 300 people wanting to watch my videos, I wouldn't have believed you, but I'm just so grateful. Compared to some of the quality of videos that are on YouTube, mine are pretty amateur. But I do try my best and try to help you guys out with little bits and pieces. So I'm just want to say a huge thank you again. I'm really grateful. Update on the Corsa, it's booked in on the 10th of February to have it looked at by Chris at Wayside. I want to say a huge thank you for all the suggestions that you guys have gave me and put some ideas in my head. I do think it could be actuator related, but I'm not too sure. So I don't want to start buying random parts like I did with the boost control solenoids in the hope that I'd obviously sort the problem. It just makes more sense to take it to Chris and have him look at it and have it properly looked at and hopefully get to the bottom of it. But I'll keep you guys updated as and when that happens anyway. I'll take you guys along for the journey and make sure you all find out. Obviously I want to find out as soon as possible. But at the moment I've got to wait till the 10th of February, so he's quite busy, and with lockdown and stuff like that I can imagine it's like, yes, it's not the sort of greatest of times to be taking the car somewhere quite far. But like I said, I'll keep you guys updated, and as soon as I know, you'll know. As you can see from the title of the video today, I thought I'd do one on the different types of Corsa VXR there are. Obviously there's all different types and different makes, like, you know, different versions how they came out of the factory. So I thought I'd do a video of all the different things and the ish price of what they cost and what they came with. So let's make a start. Right then, guys, the first one is a 2007 Corsa VXR, the pre-facelift. This extended from 2007 till around 2009. Basically the model I have, it's just a basic Corsa VXR. Some of them came with 17-inch wheels, others came with 18s. It all depends what was ticked on the optional extras when obviously the car was first brought new. The engine is the Z16, 0 to 60, 6.8 seconds-ish. Probably out of all the Corsa VXRs, probably the Z16 is probably the most unreliable as it goes to piston for. But again, mine's a Z16. I guess I know I've had it forged, but it was original rods and pistons when I obviously forged the engine. Price wise, they're the cheapest of the bunch. They average between $2.5 to anywhere between $2.5 and $3.5 grand, depending on mileage and spec. But you can use out of all the years, I'd say the 07 to the 09 is probably the cheapest ones to buy if you're on budget, and if obviously you just want to use it as a project or just buy a cheap Corsa VXR. These are the earlier ones are probably the ones you want to go for. Right then, in 2009 they brought something called the Corsa VXR Arctic Edition. This is basically, again, it's a pre-facelift Corsa VXR. However, they were all white with gloss black alloy wheels. They came with a Remus exhaust, a sunroof and a gloss black roof and black mirrors. Same power, same 0 to 60 as mine. So it's 6.8 seconds to 0 to 60, 189 brake out the factory, even though it had the exhaust. Obviously just sounded better. It was a bit more of a premium. Only 500 of these were made. So at the moment, I've seen some go for about $4 grand at about 100,000 miles. Obviously there's only 500 made. There's probably not that many left of them. So that's probably why they demand the premium, because obviously it was a limited edition, if you like. So that's the Arctic. Right then, guys, in 2009-2010, the Corsa VXR got a facelift. Now this consisted of a different front bumper, different headlights, and obviously a different bumper to accompany the headlights. They also some of them came with an optional extra of diamond cut alloy wheels. Everything else sort of stayed the same. There was a few little changes in the interior, nothing major, but a few little tweaks that you probably notice a difference if you own a facelift or you've gone from a pre-facelift to a facelift. There are a few little subtle differences, nothing major. Everything else sort of stayed the same. The engine was an A16 in this one, so they moved from the Z16 to the A16 engine. Price wise, they can average anywhere between $3 grand to $4 grand, depending on mileage and specs. Sometimes more, sometimes less. But obviously, it all depends on the mileage and how they've been looked after and the condition of the car. Everything else is the same. No real differences that I could tell. Right then, guys, the next one is something called the Corsa VXR Blue Edition. It's more of a rare one. You don't see many of these for sale. There are a couple, but it's more of a rare car. It's exactly the same as a normal Corsa VXR in Arden Blue. However, the only sort of change it got, I'd say, is that it had blue seats. So I'll put a photo somewhere on the screen now for you to see. It had blue centres in the seats, and it had blue heater rings. But other than that, I can't there's no real difference to them. It's just an Arden blue Corsa VXR, and obviously it's got the blue edition stickers on the side and on the console. But other than that, that's about it really for them. They fetch up. There's not that many for sale I can see for price comparison, but for the ones I have looked at, around £4,000 to £4,500, again depending on mileage. But that's a sort of one, you know, they're not that common, so I imagine they hold the value a little bit better than most Corsa VXR. So if you just got a basic blue Corsa VXR, the blue edition will hold the value better than just a basic Arden. Right then, the next one on the list is the Corsa VXR Nurburgring edition. Now this one got all the fancy bits. It got Brembo brakes, Bilstein suspension, it got a Drexler front diff, twin exit exhaust, multi-spoke alloy wheels, and it had Nurburgring etched in the seats, and it came from the factory 200 brake and a 0 to 60 of 6.5 seconds. So overall it was a better car in my opinion, because it just comes ready. Like with my car, I've had to put suspension on myself, brakes, I've had to buy all the different bits myself, and I still haven't got a diff. But obviously the Nurburgring edition got the diff, and it got a better 0 to 60 time. Price wise, I've seen them go for anywhere from about 5.5 up to around 7.5, 8 grand, depending on mileage and spec. But they're a car that sort of hold their value, and they are really, in my opinion, one of the nicer VXRs, the Corsa VXRs. They're just ready for the road, and I can imagine they drive a bit better than just a basic one. And obviously it comes with the factory 200 brake. They also got better injectors as well. The injectors are slightly better, so the engine wasn't so prone to piston fall. However, it is heard of, but not as common as the earlier ones. Right then guys, the next one on the list is a VXR Club Sport. Basically this is exactly the same spec as a Nurburgring edition, however they got a Remus back box, so a stainless exhaust, so I imagine it sounds a little bit better than a Nurburgring at the factory, but you'll probably end up changing the exhaust on your car anyway for your own system if you want that sort of thing. But yeah, that's the only difference with the Club Sport. Everything exactly the same as a Nurburgring edition apart from the back box. You've got a Remus stainless back box. Price wise, again, these can fetch around about between 5.5 up to 8.5 grand. They are holding their value well, because obviously they're a little bit newer, but that's basically the Club Sport. Right then guys, the last one on the list is the Corsa E VXR, and these started from 2014 to around 2018. Obviously it's a Corsa E, so it's a slightly different shape, so it looks completely different. It's still a Corsa, still the same shape as a Corsa, but it's obviously different front end, different rear end, completely different interior, and obviously a few bits and pieces. The engine, I'm led to believe, I think it's a B16 engine. Correct me if I'm wrong, but again they came at the factory at 200 brake. Price wise, they're really holding their value well, because obviously they're a lot newer, so you could be paying up to 10 grand for one of these if this is the sort of Corsa you want. I like the front end of a Corsa E VXR, however the rear end I'm on the fence about. I'm not too sure about the rear, but I do like the front end of one. But obviously it all depends on your budget and what sort of Corsa VXR you want to buy. So this is basically all the list of Corsa VXRs that are available to buy at the moment. Right then, that's it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope I was able to provide you with some information that you find useful as always. I know it's a little silly little one, but at the moment there's not a lot I can do with the Corsa due to lockdown, and obviously I'm waiting to have the boost issue looked at, so until that's sorted I can't really move on with too much. I've got a few plans in the pipeline which I'll bring to you as soon as I can. So if you like the video, drop a like. If you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.